higher education. Also, Dr. Elawoor has extensive consultation in management field, yielding a better courses delivery approach. Currently, he is lecturing in business administration and management in different universities. Most welcome, Dr. Ez, and let's start this defense. We will allow the student Lina Sharan with us to deliver her presentation within 20 minutes. But first of all, I will leave the floor to Dr. EzzElarab to manage the defense. Dr. Ez, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Ismail, Dr. Zaher, Dr. Ismail, Lina, ladies and gentlemen. I would thank you all for joining us in this scientific session in order to discuss and defense a scientific research under title Analyzing the Challenges and Opportunities of Electronic Recruitment in Jordan. The case study, the non-governmental organization in Amman, which has been prepared by the student Lina Sharan. And according to the protocol, we will leave the stage now for Lina for 20 minutes to present her research in a PowerPoint presentation. Go ahead, Lina. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Ez. Good evening, Professor Zaher. Good evening, Dr. Ismail. I'm Lina Sharan. I'm the MBA student at International American University. Today, I have several years in human resources management experience, which led me to dig in more and research more in my research under the title of Analyzing the Challenges and Opportunities of Electronic Recruitment in Jordan. Case study is NGOs in Amman. This research under the supervision of Dr. Ez. Thank you for your efforts first.
Welcome.
Okay. The introduction about my thesis is the rapid growth and use of internet over the last several years have changed the way non-governmental organizations conduct their activities, including the activities of human resources management. Attracting and recruiting the best employees is one of the biggest and greatest challenges for the human resources department. Today, electronic recruitment has become a significant tool for human resources management. The problem statement is that one of the major challenges faced by human resources professionals is the difficulty of finding qualified candidates who meet the job criteria. This struggle highlights the need for an effective tool to facilitate the selection of perfect candidates in the NGOs in Jordan. The question arises as to which tool is the most suitable and efficient for this purpose. Based on this, is e-recruitment the best tool? The research objectives and questions to identify the barriers and limitations faced by organizations in adopting and maximizing the potential of electronic recruitment, such as resistance to change or legal and ethical considerations. To contribute to academic and professional knowledge by synthesizing existing literature on electronic recruitment and providing insights into emerging trends, innovative practices, and future directions in the field. To identify and examine the challenges faced by organizations in effectively implementing electronic recruitment methods, such as issues related to system integration, lack of technological infrastructure, data security, and candidate assessment. The hypotheses, if we are talking about the null hypothesis, there is no significant relationship between the implementation of electronic recruitment in NGOs in Jordan and the effectiveness of talent acquisition, candidate experience, and overall organizational performance. If we are talking that there is a significant relationship between the implementation of electronic recruitment NGOs in Jordan and the effectiveness of talent acquisition, candidate experience, and overall organizational performance. The hypothesis one, that there is a significant positive effect of implementation of the electronic recruitment and talent acquisition. There is a significant positive effect of implementation of recruitment and candidate experience in NGOs in Jordan. And there is a significant positive effect on implementation of electronic recruitment and overall organizational performance in NGOs in Jordan. This is a brief about the literature review. E-recruitment is a double-edged sword that presents both advantages and disadvantages to organizations. On one hand, it offers benefits such as cost effectiveness, wider reach, and faster response times. On the other hand, it also has limitations like limited personal interaction, privacy concerns, and technical difficulties for some job seekers. Therefore, it's essential for companies to carefully consider the pros and cons of e-recruitment before implementing it as a part of their recruitment strategy. While it is clear that e-recruitment can be an effective tool, finding the right balance between technology and human interaction is key to ensuring a fair and thorough recruitment process. The methodology, I used the exploratory design, which has been selected. It allows an in-depth investigation of management and HR studies, and it adopts qualitative data gathering techniques by using interviews method with HR professionals and senior management as a pilot study for who is working in 9 well-known NGOs in Jordan, based on structured interviews. The data analysis, the qualitative study approach was deemed most appropriate for the investigation objectives, since it allows for the utilization of numerous data sources. Based on the collected data from different NGOs, most of the participants in the case study provides insights into the current e-recruitment practices employed by NGOs in Jordan. These practices are characterized by the utilization of websites, social media platforms for announcing job vacancies, and email-based applicants process, and multiple interview stages for candidate selection. The main results and findings. The data indicates several emerging trends and technologies in e-recruitment for NGOs, applicant tracking systems, customized recruitment softwares. By leveraging these emerging technologies and staying abreast of e-recruitment trends, NGOs can enhance their recruitment process, improve efficiency, and attract the most suitable candidate for their organizational needs. Recommendation. By implementing the below recommendation and best practices, NGOs can enhance their e-recruitment processes, develop a clear strategy and accurate job descriptions. Accurate and comprehensive job description should be crafted before any process of recruitment. Customize the application process, design selection methods that assess candidates' alignment with the organization values, culture fit, and competitively team with dynamics. Discussion and conclusion. Electronic recruitment has transformed the way people apply for employment and has made it so simple that anyone can do it. The programmers, softwares, computers, and the internet deserve credit. Companies will consider e-recruitment as their primary business tool in the future, a tool that will allow them to manage the job market. It almost certainly provides them with a competitive advantage in the difficult labor market. In the future, the 3 most important characteristics of e-recruitment will be simplicity, stability, and speed. This was my presentation. Special thanks for Prof. Zaher for giving us this opportunity for discussion of MBA thesis and for being an MBA student at the International American University. Thank you, Dr. Ez, for your supervision and for advices and follow-up. Well, thanks for Dr. Ismail for being our godfather. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Lina. Thank you for your clear presentation. And according to the protocol, we will leave the mic and stage now for Prof. Dr. Zaher to defense the dissertation which has been prepared and introduced by Lina. The mic is yours, Dr. Zaher. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. First of all, I'm always glad to see Dr. Ezz around. My sincere brother, my sincere colleague for a very long time. Lina, what you've done so far is great, but I need to clarify some issues. And unfortunately, my role is to make a critical criticism of your thesis so that we would enhance it. My remarks overall, it's okay, but we need to fill in some gaps. In order to make sure that I understand what you've written in your thesis, I'll start in what we call, first of all, the structure of the thesis itself. First of all, I saw that you do not distinguish between paraphrasing and direct citation under APA. You have to go to APA and apply very specifically the 7th edition. APA is the referencing method, how you make the citation. Direct citation, you have to have the author in the beginning, and then you put the paragraph. Paraphrase, you have the paragraph, then you put the author name. In all your work, you've done the opposite. You put as if it is paraphrase. I'm sure some of these citation are direct, so the author must be in the beginning. Now, for the concept, you cannot draw a conclusion and then you put a reference for the conclusion. The conclusion is your ownership. You don't put a reference in the conclusion. The conclusion is Lina's, Sharan, property. You don't put according to X and Y as you put in your conclusion. You cannot do this because it's yours. You are the author. We've been waiting for the whole thesis to see your production, and then when it comes to your production, you refer to somebody else. This cannot be done. Now to the story. Structural-wise, English-wise, it's okay, but you need a little bit of a proofreading. Have the present tense and the abstract. Present affirmative, because in the abstract you are not about to do. You have done your work, so yes, it has been done. So you have to either the present perfect or the present tense, because this work has been done and you are ready to tell us what exactly is the work about. So you go for abstract from that angle. So let us put APA aside. You must redo the whole. By the way, this is a comment for everybody for the last 2 days. Everybody has to redo the APA. You do not respect EPA. We respect EPA. It has to be there. In America, they respect EPA, and in Britain, they have Oxford referencing method. They have another, but at the end of the day, you have to have a reference to do for the referencing method. Okay, let's go in deeply in the research itself. Now, you are telling us that you are after the e-recruitment of the NGOs, how NGOs are delivering or are practicing what the practice of NGOs in e-recruitment. And you said that there are disadvantages and advantages of recruitment. You said that, and I saw that you have jumped to conclusions so many times, but it's not supported by referencing. Can you tell me what are the disadvantages of e-recruitment?
Okay.
When it is compared to traditional recruitment?
Okay. There is a lack of interaction with the candidates. There is a wide pool of resumes which might not be related to the job description. There might be a lack of technology infrastructure in rural areas. In some areas and some organizations, they have poor technological infrastructure which will not enhance and help the electronic recruitment. So if it's in the organizations, there is poor technological infrastructure or IT, they need to improve it. Regarding the lack of interaction with the candidates, this is main issue in as a disadvantage for the electronic recruitment, because in when the candidates apply for vacancies, apply for interviews, sometimes it happened with online interviews, which will increase the interaction face to face and will not help
What are the disadvantages of traditional recruitment?
You might not receive. Okay.
So what
You
I'm
will.
after
You will
now,
not get.
you have to add a clause in your clause means some paragraphs in your work talking about the traditional. You have make a table traditional recruitment, e-recruitment, then advantages and disadvantages, and give us the difference for different parameters. This would enhance what you said. In a way, try to have references. I saw that you were your thesis is about NGOs in Amman, isn't it? In Amman.
It's in Amman, basically. Yes,
Yeah, but you don't have
basically in
anything
Amman.
about Amman, recruitment or NGOs. You just have this in the title, and that's it. You want to convince us that you are working about NGOs in Amman, but you don't have any statistics. You should say that in Amman you have to have a paragraph or an introduction about NGOs in Amman, number of NGOs, number of recruited people via traditional and via e-recruitment. You have to have some sort of I would say base for the reader of your thesis, so that we know that we are going step by step, and we put the foundation, then we go to the first floor, second floor, and so on. So you have to add that part of the work. I was looking in your thesis for the hypothesis. I did not see any hypothesis. By the way, in any thesis, you should have one of three elements. First one is to have the hypothesis. You mentioned the hypothesis in your presentation, didn't you? But I did not see it in your research. Is it there?
It's under the.
Right? I think it is not there.
It went through the methodology.
Why do you go for pessimistic hypothesis and you leave the optimistic hypothesis? You said you mentioned the three, I think, as I recall from your presentation, the three null H0 hypothesis. Why on earth you and your colleagues before that they go for the null? We go for the original hypothesis. There is a connection, there is a relationship between recruitment and the effectiveness of selection, for example. So this is H1, and then you go and say, okay, there is no significant relation whatsoever between e-recruitment and better selection or I would say effective selection. And then you prove the opposite. So you have to have direct hypothesis or indirect. This is one scenario. The other one that you could add is, okay, I'm not interested to see this hypothesis. I don't believe in this business. So what else? You put dependent or parameters that composing the e-recruitment. What are the parameters? E-recruitment means software. It means a tracking system. It means, so you put 10, not from your brain, from references. You have to make sure that you select, say, 20 parameters, and then you test those parameters. Once you test it, okay, we have a research. But without hypothesis or parameters, we cannot. Some other people would come to say, okay, I'm not interested. I don't like to go to the hypothesis side or to the parameter side. I want to have a criteria. And they go for each criterion and they discuss it. Then they discuss that criterion. Every criterion is discussed according to some sense of referencing or some, I would say, field work. So this is the second one. This is missing element and you have to add it. It must be added.
Yes, I will add.
I'll ask you later, but let us speak about the structure itself. Now, before going into methodology, you said in the methodology, my approach is exploratory approach. To me, this is nice. What do you mean by exploratory approach? What is it? Methodology is, in your research, you have a statement. My research methodology, exploratory approach.
Yes.
What do you mean by this?
I mean that I went to the structured interviews and investigate and dig more with the HR professionals or senior management who's responsible about hiring and recruitment in several NGOs organization. And we discussed more about the details of the hiring process, of the benefits or advantages of being able to use the electronic recruitment. And
yeah, you mean this is part of your field work?
Yes.
You explore the field. This is not methodology. We, as researchers, we have only 3 methodologies. We have a quantitative, qualitative, or mixed method between the qualitative and the quantitative. Then you went back and you said, okay, I am after a qualitative work.
Yes.
In order to cast this, we need to go through 3 steps. First, specify the parameters of your work, the criteria or the hypothesis. Secondly, give me some, inject life in your thesis. Have some graphs, some histogram, some curve, a photo of the I would say interview questions that you want to have as a model. What you do in the whole process of your research, you escape from reality. While research and MBA, it's about reality. It's an applied research. So you have to make it live. Live means give me some interview. You said I am after a structured interview. Okay, show me some questions and how it is dealt with when it comes to recruitment and how it is dealt with when it comes to traditional. And then you could put in the annex a full sample of some structured interviews and so on. So it's a way to make it live. So this is the first one. Then you go to make a relationship between different models. What exactly the most important? Okay, I don't want to go deeply, but usually when you go to criteria analysis. When you go to criteria analysis, you make a sensitivity analysis. When you go to sensitivity, you say that the most important criterion is this one. It's more than the other one, more than the other one. We don't want you to go in that deep. Let us be superficial, just around it, in order to give you the idea. So it's after putting the parameters, after casting some sort of model for your work, then you go to, and after casting a table of advantages, disadvantages, parameters of traditional recruitment and e-recruitment, then you go to the process of e-recruitment. You have to have a flow chart. If I want to recruit an NGO, okay, Dr. Ezz has his own company. He does not have, but I assume that he's a multimillionaire, billionaire. And inshallah, why not? If he has the company, I want him to lend me 1 million. Okay, Dr. Ezz, agreed? Khalas. What is the difference between e-recruitment in Dr. Ezz's company and an NGO? You have to tell me, why is NGO? When you say NGO, what does it mean? What is the difference between a university hiring via recruitment and an NGO hiring via recruitment, or Dr. Ezz's company hiring via recruitment? So you have to tell me why. What is the difference? It's very important, because if there is no difference, please wipe it out from the whole of your research. We don't need it. We don't want it. I'm sure there is a difference. Further, NGOs mean and there are 2 types of. Please also specify the types of NGOs. There are AMMAN, Jordanian NGOs, and international NGOs. The process of the local NGOs is completely different from the process of the international NGOs. USAID, they have e-recruitment, but it's very sophisticated instrument for recruitment. So if you want to touch it, okay, UNDP is less sophisticated. UNRWA is less sophisticated. But when it comes to Abdullah company or Zaher's company, it's okay, e-recruitment, but it's very simple. So you have to tell me what NGO and what is the actual. Is that clear?
Yes, yeah. Sure. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So this is another one. I'm after making your nice research complete, robust. Okay. We need to see the questions that you've asked. You said that you've done some interviews, didn't you?
Yes, I've mentioned it in the.
Whom?
Sorry?
Whom did you interview? Which NGO? Which you have
Okay.
so far 4 or 5 organizations. That's right.
I have 9 organizations.
9 organizations. Okay.
Yes.
Can you put before going to tell us what are these organizations? Tell us what are the questions.
Yes, sure.
And something else you have to say. Whenever you go for field work, you have to have 2 steps. The first step is to highlight or to introduce the questions, and secondly, to validate the questions in 2 dimensions. Validate the questions in terms of hypotheses or parameters and or criteria. Make sure that these are, because at the end of the day, you are asking questions to support your hypothesis or to ignore, to discard it. And the other one,
Yes.
you have to ask somebody, you say, like Dr. Ezz, validate these answers. These are the parameters, and these are the hypothesis or the criteria, 3 dimensions, whatever. And then these are the questions. Are these matching?
Yes.
Can we reach a conclusion by having these questions? So the questionnaire, although it's interviewing people,
Yes.
but still it's a questionnaire. These questions has to be validated against the hypothesis, so that we have I would say a feedback from the actual I would say questioning of the people themselves. Now is that clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Yeah. Now for the tough part.
Yes.
You have the questions. You have the questions. You have the objectives. You have the research problem. You have the parameters. You have the interviews. Now to tell me that you are going to do the qualitative analysis, you have to be very brilliant to do this. You have to combine all of these together. What have you done to make the or to perform the qualitative? How did you? What was your approach in getting the qualitative analysis done? Imagine, I'll give you the floor to answer something out of your research and out of your presentation. You have objectives.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4. By the way, the objectives in your presentation is much better than in the thesis. In the presentation, you have it bulleted. In the thesis, there I swam. I was swimming at those. I don't know. You have to bullet it. Points. So in the presentation, it's much better. Move it and replace what's in the thesis.
Yes.
So
Sure.
having a research question, having objectives, having hypotheses, having research questions or interview questions. These are the base, and having some statistics here and there. Having those, how would you connect them to have a proper qualitative analysis?
Okay. First of all, when I put the objectives of the research, I know where to dig in, and I know what I'm looking for. So based on the objectives and the major questions that I have just mentioned in the presentation, I looked into each question and divided it into several questions that will help me to know more and learn more about the organizations and their process in doing the electronic recruitment process. I have structured questions when I ever have any interview I've done. I ask the same questions, discussing with the people about the, for example, how would you describe the current e-recruitment practices in your organization? Please provide an overview. In this question, if I feel that
again, can you say this question again, please?
Okay, how would you describe the current e-recruitment practices in your organization? Please provide an overview. For human resources,
stop here.
Yes.
It is noticeable that most of your questions are open-end question. Open-end question puts you in trouble because it has to be very decisive, connected to an idea that you have, a parameter that you have, and then, for example, the question could be, one of the questions, do you use e-recruitment at your place? Yes, that's it. So it's one answer or no. Then how would you rate the effectiveness of e-recruitment at your place on a scale out out of 5? So it's 5. So when you compare answers, you have tool, you have answers to go. Open-ended questions, it is a mess at the end of the day. Avoid them. Okay, you've done it, but when I say open, anybody can answer anything. But when it is not open, they have to be refrained to your suggestions, so that when you analyze it, you'll say 5 of those people, they said it is effective and 5 did not. 6 of them say it's brilliant to have software, and 4 of them said not necessary. So you will have at the end of the day conclusion. When it is 6 out of 10, okay, I'll take the 6. When it is 7 out of 9, I'll take the 7. And then you conclude the whatever you want. Not you do not rely. Usually I say, Dr. Ez, usually I say to my students, the missing person in the research is the researcher. You should not be there. You rely on others till you come with the conclusion, then you prevail. You intrude. You attack. But before that, you have to be a ghost, collecting data, taking the opinions of the others, and then in conclusion, do whatever you want. But in this research, you have taken a very tough task to have Lina everywhere. Lina should be in the conclusion only. Okay.
Prof. Zaher, I totally agree.
I'm just giving you an example. Let me summarize in a sense. Some questions of the interview have it attached to the model that we mentioned, the parameters, the criteria, or the hypothesis. So some questions has to be added. Okay, add it. Expect the answer. Put it. Ask some people. Ask Dr. Ez for his answer. But at the end of the day, ask somebody and tell us who you asked about it. Finally, you have objectives. You have objectives
Yes.
and a search question, and then the research, and then the conclusion. Leave the research and go to the objectives and the conclusion. I have to see in the conclusion answering the research problem, answering the objectives. If you do not answer one of the objectives, it means that your research is not right. So every objective has to be solved, has to be addressed. The research question or questions has to be answered. Because this is so. At the end, have this in mind and make sure that you do it. Forget about your thesis. You take the objectives,
Yes.
and then the conclusions. Conclusions is answers that are answered. The answers should address the different objectives.
Yes, sure.
Thank you for your time, and I think by this I'm concluded. I've concluded my discussion. Thank you, Dr. Ez. I'll give the floor to you. Thank you, Lina.
Thank you, Prof. Zaher, for the feedback. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Zaher, for your valuable comments. I'm strongly asking Lina to consider these minor corrections.
I will, for sure.
Added by Dr. Zaher to perform your final copy of your research. For now, the committee will leave the stage for 10 minutes to judge the scientific thesis of Lina Sharan. 10 minutes, inshallah. يا لينا السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام. أو اف.
طيب والله قبل ما تقف يعني كان في عندنا مشكله مع الدكتور زاهر الان، انه يعني كان داخل على ميجر كوركشنز، لكن بفضل الله
لا لا
يعني يعني قلبه حن علينا وعملنا اللي تكون ماينر ان شاء الله في الشغل تبعه. لكن احسنتي ان شاء الله، وان شاء الله تاخذي باعتبارك التعديلات اللي طلبها الدكتور زاهر لنخرج
دكتور عز، انا ثقتي ببروفيسور زاهر اكبر من هيك، فما توقعش بيننا.
والله ثقتنا كلنا اكبر من هيك، يعلم الله. بس هو يعني الشغل شغل والعلم علم، خدت بالك؟
اكيد، بالعكس انا his feedback يعني I will take it into consideration. It will enrich my thesis و research. بالعكس it's an added value for my research.
Thank you.
Very good.
Okay. Would you stand up please?
Thank you.
طيب الحكم على الأطروحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نتيجة الحكم على أطروحة ماجستير إدارة الأعمال أنه في يوم الخميس الموافق 24/8/2023 ناقشت اللجنة المكونة من دكتور عز العرب as a supervisor and chairman, Professor Zaher Kyle as an examiner, الطالبة لينا جهاد شرعان، وعنوان رسالتها Analyzing the challenges and opportunities of electronic recruitment in Jordan, case study the non-governmental organizations in Amman. وبعد المناقشة والمداولة أوصت اللجنة بمنح الطالبة درجة الماجستير في إدارة الأعمال، وذلك بعد استيفائها كافة التعديلات والمتطلبات الأكاديمية الخاصة بالبرنامج. وإذ قررت اللجنة منح الطالبة درجة الماجستير توصيها بأن تجعل ما تعلمته في خدمة وطنها وأمتها.
مبارك يا مبارك.
Final decision on MBA thesis today on Thursday 24/8/2023. The examination committee consisting of Dr. EzzElarab Elawoor as a supervisor and chairman, Professor Zaher Kyle as an examiner, title Analyzing the Challenges and Opportunities of Electronic Recruitment in Jordan, case study the NGOs in Amman, examined the thesis of the student Lina Jihad Sharan. After discussion and deliberation, the committee recommended granting the student a master's degree in business administration after fulfilling all academic requirements of the program. Congrats, Lina.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Allah barik fikum. Thank you, Dr. Azz. Thank you, Professor Zaher. I really appreciate your feedback, your effort, everything. It was really a very nice journey during my MBA, whether lectures, meeting our respected instructors, doctors who enrich us with knowledge and more information. We learned a lot of things from all of you. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
You are one of our best students, Lina. Congratulations. It's our privilege to have you with us as a graduate. I look forward to see you in one of our doctorate programs soon.
Inshallah. Looking forward to. Inshallah. Thank you.